Welcome back, everybody. Asia Cup Finals, Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. Congratulations, Sri Lanka fan. They win the sixth Asia Cup title. And Gautam Gambhir, I don't know, egg on his face moment. At the start of the tournament, Gambhir had mentioned that I don't know how Sri Lanka won five Asia Cup titles. And guess what? They proved not just Gambhir, but every single person wrong. We got Sanjay Dubey from London, who's our prediction expert. He'll explain what happened to his prediction today. But before we join in, Sanjay, when we did the preview of the squads and stuff like that, nobody gave chance to Sri Lanka, neither you. So, firstly, what do you think of Sri Lanka's performance in the tournament? And go ahead. You have a
No,
word.
that's true. When we predicted the winners, I did say we could check. I did say Sri Lanka is going to win, but I did also say that because now that I've predicted Sri Lanka is going to win, they might just lose out and not even make it to the top four. So yeah, that one time I've got a prediction right. But they were the home team, and as you rightly said, not necessarily ranked quite highly in the T20s. They're going to play the qualifiers of the World Cup. That just shows how um, you know that they are not a strong team. But this was their home tournament, and for a lot of the obvious reasons, they could not host it. So pretty happy for them as a nation, as a team. For them to lift their sixth title. So yes, egg on a lot of people's faces. Everyone was expecting an India-Pakistan final. India couldn't even make it to the final. So tough luck, Pakistan, I'd say, but thoroughly deserved performance by Sri Lanka throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, outstanding fielding, outstanding bowling, outstanding batting. They nearly had a perfect game except for the toss. And forget about this game. If you look at their momentum throughout the tournament, they beat India, they beat Afghanistan, which was a good game. And consistently, I think for three games, they chased down 170 plus totals. So they had a perfect combination. In the past 4 months, a lot of things gone right for Sri Lanka. How happy are you about Lanka and their cricket and their crowd in itself with this win?
No, I'm extremely happy. And one of the things which everyone had been going on about Dubai and this tournament was the team chasing has been winning pretty much everything, although most of the chases went up to the last over. So it wasn't that the chasing team was just steamrolling the other team. So considering that, Sri Lanka were 58 for 5 in ninth over. They still went on and on and on. So I think from that point on, there will be hardly anyone who would have given any chance to Sri Lanka. So I think it's phenomenal win, and what Rajapaksa did with the bat in his hand is one of the best innings you would see in a final anywhere, irrelevant of what the tournament is. So fantastic for the country, for the people, get something to cheer about, and yeah, it's brilliant for Asian cricket. Asian cricket is really strong. Bangladesh couldn't make it to the top four, and Bangladesh is not a bad side at all. They will give a tough fight to a lot of the other teams. So I think ICC World Cup has to live up now to what Asian Asia Cup has provided. There's been some absolutely phenomenal games, some really memorable moments. Unfortunately, India couldn't make it, but couldn't be happier for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and we also saw Bharat Army posting that Indian fans with Indian jerseys were not allowed in Dubai Stadium. I'm wearing Indian jersey. Sanjay is having an Indian flag. This spot, everybody is welcome, Sanjay.
Absolutely. I don't know what happened there, but I'm surprised that there's still probably desperate fans wanting to see a match without India. But yeah, I'm sure some misunderstanding would have been there. Otherwise, there's no reason you can wear whatever you want to a cricket stadium as long as it's not inappropriate.
And Syed Hussein pointing it out, two Lankan teams won today. He's, of course, giving the reference to the Road Safety Series, which Dilshan scored a century as well. Mahela Jayawardena will be extremely happy, especially after what Bangladesh. Uh, I think coach was he the coach who mentioned that India,
Yes.
Sri Lanka do not have world class bowlers, but today's bowling performance was outstanding, and especially how they started the tournament. It was a one-sided Pakistan win, the opener, and at that point in time, too, I understand that nobody gave a chance. But let's talk about the Pakistan team. They won the toss and, of course, put Sri Lanka in bat. Like you mentioned, uh, fantastic start to the final. We were thinking this is going to be a one sided Pakistan steam rolling. But Rajapaksa, who plays a fantastic brand of T20 cricket. 71 of 45 deliveries, six fours and three sixes. At the start of the year, Sanjay, he had actually called in a retirement because Sri Lanka team thought that he is not fit enough to play for Sri Lanka, and he revoked his retirement 10 days later. But what a transformation.
Absolutely brilliant. And this is that ironical story where you call a player not being fit enough, but those risks are superb risks because he was flicking the ball for sixes. And it's the situation where he's come in and played those shots and played a role which is absolutely important for the team's performance today. So he bats at number three. You would have seen for Kings 11, Punjab Kings rather. Goes hammer and tongs pretty much, does a lot of cameos. So that's what a lot of the people are expecting, that they'll do the same thing. Sri Lanka will continue him as a a top three, but they asked him for a finishing role, and he's delivered. So full credit to people who backed him after what you mentioned happened earlier in the year, and that just shows that if you are fearless, you will probably reach somewhere where you wouldn't expect your team to be. 58 for 5, most teams will probably say, okay, let's just try and get 130, 40. But that innings from Wanindu Hasaranga, 21 ball, 36 run, superb innings, counter-attacking innings. They get a 50-run partnership. Suddenly, the momentum is changing. Suddenly, you have Rajapaksa smashing the ball around, drop catches, and everything went downhill for Pakistan. Obviously, when the second inning started, you had that really long over without a ball being bowled, 9 runs on the board. So people would have thought that, okay, what's going to happen here? We will probably have all the advantage which Sri Lanka got, being wiped out even before the match has started. So, yeah, great from the selectors' perspective. And we have another really strong team going to the World Cup now. So, it'll be difficult for all the fancy teams to progress further in the World Cup, and no one's going to take Sri Lanka lightly.
Yeah, and a lot of folks are watching our broadcast, which is fantastic to see. Thanks very much. It is really encouraging. Let's talk about Pakistan bowling. They started extremely well. Naseem Shah and Mohammad Hasnain, even though they were expensive, they gave a great start. Haris Rauf, 4 overs, 3 for 29. And Syed here pointing it out that where they went wrong in the bowling is right from the 10th over till 20th over, not using Nawaz till 50th, dropped catches, misfields, captaincy, a lot of tactical issues Pakistan encountered, unfortunately, in the finals.
Absolutely. I think first for their fast bowling lineup, I think they've got one of the best fast bowling lineups, if not the best in the world. Everyone can bowl at 140, 145. Haris Rauf was bowling 153. There was a stat which was going around viral where they showed 177 balls in the Asia Cups, over 140 Ks has been from Sri Lanka, and everyone else was under 50. So that just shows the depth around. Naseem Shah is a new kid on the block. He can tonk the ball as well, as we saw against Pakistan, and he could. And some of the bowls he was bowling in the initial overs was brilliant. Haris Rauf delivered whenever captain asked him for. But as you mentioned, the crucial mistake was where Nawaz, who's a very accomplished bowler, left arm bowler, just because he was left arm, they didn't fancy bringing him on against Rajapaksa, which was the killer blow for Pakistan, because what happened was you had a part timer who although got a wicket of one of the batters, a right-hander batter, ironically, but that momentum which they had of picking up 5 wickets, that just fizzed out, and 170 was going to be tough if Pakistan did not have a good start, and that's what exactly happened.
Yeah, and speaking of captaincy, Babar also had a pretty average batting Asia Cup too. Syed is pointing it out, and I was going to come to that. Shanaka, the Sri Lankan captain, he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, very composed, similar to Dhoni SQ. This Chris Silverwood coming in, it was a blessing in disguise for Sri Lanka. They have this code messaging going on from the dressing room. So talk about Shanaka's captaincy, the impact it had on the young Sri Lankan side.
Not just this, just going back to the previous Australian series, I think he had some very good moments. There was a couple of superb innings he played, getting the team over the line. So he's been there. I'm really surprised he hasn't got an IPL contract. I think he'll definitely get one in for next year, hopefully. But yeah, he can bowl a bit. He can tonk the ball, and I think they did need someone who will sort of calm their nerves. It's a young team, and people are not expecting much of the team. A lot of criticism about their the way they are playing, etc. So yeah, I mean, very underrated captain, if I may add. Not someone who's a batter top per se. Top two, three batters in the team. So very underrated, but just shows the results for the team. And Asia Cup winning, no one gave them a chance, so couldn't be more pleased for him. So
And Vishak pointing it out that the two partnerships, Karunarathre and Hasaranga supporting Rajapaksa, got them to 170. At some point, they were looking at like 125, 130 all out. Now, let's talk about Pakistan batting. Mohammad Rizwan playing another match losing innings, unfortunately. Babar Azam, Fakhar Zaman, uh, Madhushana. Am I saying the name right? I think two
Madhushan,
and two two
yes.
and two put Sri Lanka back in after that disastrous first over. So, what could have Pakistan done to chase this 170?
So I think the first thing, the biggest problem they've had through the tournament is that Babar Azam, the number one batter, has failed to deliver. And unfortunately, even today, he got a very loose delivery. Madhushanka, that combination getting the wicket, and then Fakhar Zaman. I think he's all the ducks he's had in T20s in his career has been first ball out. So that pretty much sort of punctured their innings. Not that they had a brilliant start, because even after getting 9 runs without a ball being bowled, they were 20 odd in 3.2 overs. So Rizwan was doing a Rizwan. He's Pakistan's KL Rahul, if I may say, but it's just that KL Rahul is not getting any runs. At least Rizwan is the top scorer in Asia Cup. So Rizwan generally would just bat one end up and try and accelerate as the innings progresses. But unfortunately, this time they did not have a Nawaz or an Iftikhar Ahmed or Khush Dil Shah. No one could provide that support. Although at one point they were placed very well. They were 88 for 2 in 12 overs. So that is what, 92 in 8 overs with 8 wickets in hand. That's pretty doable. But then you had, Hasaranga coming back, getting the wickets, and Madhushan getting 4. He could have almost got a 5. Pfeiffer had a, potentially a drop catch, but it's a difficult one. But yeah, Pakistan's problem, if Babar doesn't fire, then the middle order without Fakhar Zaman is a problem. So I mean, I personally would prefer Fakhar Zaman opening. You get a right hand left hand combination, and then Babar may be batting at 3 or Rizwan batting at 3. But they probably need someone in the middle as well, someone like Shoaib Malik who had a lot of experience. But they've got the team. Remember, they've reached the finals, so that's a good start. And I think they just need someone a bit more stronger, or from whatever I've read on social media from the Pakistani commentators, it's pretty much like you have to go a bit more harder at the top, which I completely agree. Because then what happens is you can have all the big hitters from the world, but if the run rate is at 15, 17, 18, then no one's going to be able to take you home unless someone plays an absolute blinder. So if they had gone a bit harder earlier, then 9, 10, 12 required run rate can be manageable, but that middle order is a problem.
And I hope you don't pull Wasim Jaffer for this question. Which is your best moment of Asia Cup?
So Sri Lanka as a team, their whole performance, especially that there was a crucial match against Bangladesh where they were so close to going out of the tournament, and that was the moment, or the game probably of the tournament. But that Naseem Shah 2 sixes and just the whole emotion around Afghanistan, Pakistan contest, which we've seen recently, has been quite spicy. That easily is the moment of the tournament. People have Wasim Jafar, as you mentioned, said that Virat Kohli's 71st 100. He has a great personal achievement. It did nothing for the team. It makes no difference to Asia Cup. But yeah, hopefully he'll kick on and score big in most more important games. Although I was really happy to see him completely back in form. He was back in form when he had that 70 odd runs against Pakistan, one of those flick shots. So 100 is just a number. You would have seen Sri Lanka. No one's got 100. They've won chasing on one of the games where the top score was like 35 or something. So I think it's a question of how we are treating T20s. The problem India has is, if you're slightly digressing from the final, that we do not have those players after 5 or 6. you wouldn't have a Naseem Shah equivalent in India team who will deliver something like that, or a Vanindu Hasaranga who will be our Vanindu Hasaranga in a situation where we are 5 or 6 down. So there's lots of problems for India, but that's for another day. This is Sri Lanka's day, and they thoroughly deserve it.
Yeah, and congratulations, Sri Lankan fans. We see that a lot of love is coming in for Lanka, deservedly so. And Akash, if you're watching, which I think you are watching, I remember that moment of our auction, IPL auction, when Vainindu Hasaranga went for $1 million, and Akash was like, damn it. But guess what? He won the Asia Cup, and hopefully RCB is going to see the value of him soon.
And I'm really happy for him as a batter, because today I think that knock was so crucial. If he had got out, then I think Rajapaksa probably would have had to farm the strike, because Dashan Shanaka didn't get many runs, but he had that counter attacking innings, and that's what RCB would be hoping for, because they did pick him as an all rounder. So very happy for him. Pakistan always struggle against Hasranga. He did end up getting those crucial wickets in the end. Initially, he did leak a few runs. So all the Sri Lankan fans, I can see a lot of Tamil here. My Tamil is bad. I'm guessing something to do with the Sri Lanka love, etc. All the Indians were backing Sri Lankans. I don't think anyone in our group was backing Pakistan for obvious reasons. But yes, it was a very good tournament on the whole, and great exposure for a lot of the teams who wouldn't necessarily get to play multi-level tournaments. So the Asian teams who've played this have a certain advantage over all the other teams who will be coming into the World Cup with just bilateral series experience.
Yeah, and I'll give a shot at reading this. It says Abhinandanalu Sri Lanka Juttu. So hopefully I got it right. Congratulations, Sri Lanka fans. And Adi points that out. I think Hasaranga being their all-rounder, India do have a chance of Aksar and Deepak Chahar and Purpur Patel too. Hopefully, we get to see the benefit of it. Another point which I wanted to point out, which Anirudh Chakra has been talking about throughout the tournament, is the fielding of Sri Lanka team. And today, especially in the finals, like what Pakistan did in fielding versus Sri Lanka did was day and night difference, and you could see the match result.
Absolutely. In the end, they were stopping. They were like jumping, diving everywhere. Whereas Pakistan dropped some sitters and some somewhat easier fielding and catching options in an international at an international level. Sri Lanka were all over. I think they would have easily saved 10, 15 runs there, although they had a pathetic start with the first over. But Sri Lanka's fielding, although the standard of Asian fielding in general has been lifted, but if you're an Indian fan, you wouldn't feel that, because we've had some crucial drop catches, etc. So yeah, very happy from Sri Lanka perspective, because I didn't see any holes in their fielding. Everyone seemed to be quite fit, diving around, etc. They must be hiding Rajapaksa, because they must be concerned about his fielding, but he can keep as well. So that's another option they can explore.
Yeah, and news interviews coming up. Mohammad Rizwan says, "We made mistakes. We are humans. We also played well through the tournament, but we lost the momentum in the first innings. Sri Lanka deserved champions from 67 for 5 after 10 overs. And what happened? I think if any team thinks about toss, then they are not a champion team. Sri Lanka were that today. They did not think of toss and they went through." Chris Silverwood talking about Kushal Mendes setting the tone at the top, being the crucial support, which I agree. I think Kushal Mendel has been very underrated throughout the tournament. He gave those important starts. Chamika Karunatre says that feeling so good, winning after 7 years. 1.5 years ago, we were nowhere. Now we are a different team. Dhananjay De Silva saying we have been practicing. So Sri Lankans seem very, very, very happy. And after the 1996 World Cup, this is the first I'm seeing them sounding really happy and thrilled. For the Pakistan fans, unfortunate, peaked at the wrong time, or I would think so. I think the first half of the tournament was great. The highlight again is beating India last Sunday. Unfortunate that India did not come to the final, but guess what? Sri Lanka had other plans. There's one other point which Akash makes about Afghanistan. Do they deserve more matches with the big boys, seeing how they went about this tournament?
It's a tricky one, because yes, everyone should get equal opportunities. Afghanistan plays a lot of T20s, probably not as much as they should be against the top nations. So all the teams should try and help. But with such a cramped calendar, with all the T20 leagues around, I think they'll have to sort of cause an upset. In fact, Afghanistan beating any of the teams, I wouldn't necessarily call an upset. So I'm hoping Afghanistan can, give some big shocks to other teams during the World Cup and any other tournament they're playing, so that naturally that progression of getting more opportunities opportunities will come their way. But I see that point. It's not going to happen. Anyone expecting to get bilateral series, forget Afghanistan. Anyone else is going to be a struggle. So maybe we should have an annual Asia Cup. That'll be a great platform for all the teams to just sharpen their skills for all the big tournaments.
Yeah, and I'm sure I was going to come to that because this was more of a multi-team series. I'm sure you enjoyed the past 2 weeks, and you're so looking forward for the Mastercard Cups coming up.
No, absolutely. Because after ICC tournaments, my favorite is obviously the IPL, but Asia Cup, especially this one, there's so much, within the game. So much rivalry, and I'm in a sense a bit sad that all the rivalry seems to be between Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. Pakistan seems to be the most friendly type of a contest, which nothing takes away from what happens on the field. We don't want something like what happened between Afghanistan and Pakistan on the field or off it. But yeah, there seems to be that India Pakistan have lost that bit of edge in the rivalry. But a multi-team tournament, give me that over anything else, any of that crap bilateral series which goes on through the years with no context. So yes, I'm fully looking forward to all the 6 matches that are coming up before the World Cup, but I'm not sure whether I'll be watching any of them.
Yeah, very happy Sri Lankan fans. And Adi points out that redemption for Chris Silverwood as well after he was kicked out of the English setup. He was overjoyed, never seen him happier. And I've seen that Chris Silverwood happiness during the Australia home series as well when Sri Lanka had won. Ajay points out that probably they should look for a 50 over Asia Cup, which I agree. That's how it should go. Happy EAW. I don't know, Ajay, you have to explain to the audience what EAW is. But listen, I think this has been a fantastic tournament. There is a test match going on between England and Sri Lanka. Sorry, England and South Africa at Oval, which is at an interesting basketball stage. Sanjay, thank you very much for making time on this Sunday. Sri Lankan fans, thanks for joining in. Hearty congratulations for becoming Asia Cup champions for the sixth time. Pakistan, commiserations. We thoroughly enjoyed covering the Asia Cup. Sanjay, thanks for joining in for all the matches. And we still see Sri Lanka fans coming in. Obata dan pakoda.
It's their night. They thoroughly deserve it. As we mentioned, we've been mentioning it through the tournament. They've had very little to cheer in the country. So hope the situation in every which way becomes better. And this is their night. They should celebrate. Happy smiles for everyone as a nation. So couldn't ask for more.
Take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and congratulations, Sri Lanka, again.
Thank you, guys. Take care.